So hello everyone, my name is Mojgan Jadidi. I'm Associate Professor of Civil Engineering at London School of Engineering, York University, Canada. The paper I want to show you is quite my experience at the very early stage of COVID when pandemic happened. And I needed to turn the left image to something in the right image, which you can see in the screen. So the title of the paper is Re-envisioning Field Surveying as an Immersive Gamification Experience. I'm going to give you a little bit background how I usually run the surveying class. For those of you, if you are in the civil engineering or architecture program, you have this in your curriculum or you had it as a student, but just giving you a little bit background and then going to the game part. My co-author here is Professor Muhammad Usman. He was my research assistant at the time. Now he's a prof. And then another one is he was my Aman Usmani. He was my graduate student at the time. So this is all happening back 2020 in March of 2020. And you can see how early a stage we were in the pandemic. So in general, what I was doing is it was like 2 weeks of the field work, which student in the morning they had lecture content, and that was a face-to-face. You know, we are talking about the pre-pandemic, and usually that happened from 8:30 in the morning and going up to 5. So we had like our 2 hours of the class lecture content and then 1 hour of tutorial, how to use instrument, and then going on the field and doing 4 hours of the field work. And it was really extensive from the field surveying work. A student needed to be outside and work with instrument and do the measurements, so on, and then come to the following day. So that was like a 2 weeks intensive course, like you want to call it crash course or something, but it was just like happening in 2 weeks, inclusive of the weekend. So when the pandemic started, I needed to teach that course in a month. So my situation was like either to cancel the course and wait for pandemic being over, or to think of out of the box. Since my research is all about the integration of the building information modeling and 3D GIS, like I am quite comfortable with the 3D environment. So I had that notion of the game design, like I knew Unity, and I kind of had my hand on the Unity game engine because of the visualization it was offering to my research. So that's why I was thinking, okay, how can I bring this to the classroom? I always wanted to do it, but when it's not necessary, people they don't see it. Why is value on having a game feature of this class? So what I did was first, I'm just going through the structure of the class. What I was sure it's I'm not seeing my student. This is an entire remote class. So I really need to design a learning journey for them. So you can see that a learning journey, a student, they see different activity of the learning happening. It was like asynchronous video content, and then face-to-face, like when I say face-to-face, it's again through the Zoom online, face-to-face problem solving, and then having again face-to-face with the TA tutorial, and being in the kind of the asynchronous way, but doing the lab, but entirely online. So another thing was important to have make this very clear for a student. I designed the learning journey, put the content in a way it was like more immersive in terms of like a visual, and they knew they could connect the material with the image. And I designed the learning management system in the way which a student they had less difficulty to find information. Another thing I provided to a student was I provided them the space, like a share point space, which was basically a folder on a OneDrive. as a group work. As you may see at the beginning, this is a field work and entirely group work. Students, they learn the material individually, but they should work all together as a group of 5 to 6 students. So that's why I created a space which a student could work. And on the top of this, I provide them the Discord server, which they can communicate with each other in the separate room and with myself and my TA. But then that was entirely in the COVID time. Then we got a little bit ease in the pandemic. We used this system, so like HighFlex setup, where I had quarter of a student in class, and then I had a student in online on the Zoom. And this image is very like small, but I wish I could see you. I could show you what was a class setup. It was a camera quite like in 3 corners of the class, which could capture me. And I had a microphone embedded in the class and also a speaker. So meaning that I was sharing my material, which I was using my iPad to write down the note on the slide. And I was walking through the class, and the student, they could talk to me and they could interact with me in class and from the Zoom. So that was really the part I kind of turned everything from very traditional in class and on the lab to something more immersive hybrid environment. But the main core of my change was really adding that gamification approach for doing the topographic survey. What was our design approach? We used the content-based game design where we offer a game which was available through the web browser. Once user register, like you create an account, and then they could select their avatar, and then going to a room which they could take their safety gear. So that's really the step they need to take to do it when they are in person and going to inventory lab and collect their instrument. And then once they have the safety gear pickup, they go to the surveying equipment pickup room, and they collect the equipment. So we put in the way which they needed to like select it. I'm going to show you this in the video to make sure a student, they understand like what equipment they need to take in each action. And then going through the process of the selecting the environment and doing the survey. So I see the hands up, meaning that my time is over. So I'm gonna move to the video, which I can wrap it up. So student, they choose, I'm gonna just do this very quickly. You see that they go to the safety room, and then here they collect the instrument, then they select their environment, they go to the environment, and they follow exactly the same principle we do in the surveying practice, which we need to find a control point and then set up the instrument, adjust it to our height, and then set up another like a baseline, and then start doing surveying. So student, they do this practice their own while they were at home, and they could come to us in the offline way, like asking question if they needed, and they collect this information, and then later on in the following day, being online or in person to do the drafting. So that's basically the nutshell of our game design and how we transfer everything to the hybrid mode of the delivery. I'm gonna stop here, and I'm gonna answer some question if it's available now or at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mojgan. So any questions?
Hi. Yeah. It was really a great work. I really identify with this approach, and congratulations. My question is regarding gamification. Have you defined any structure of points of scoring for the students, for their efforts in the journey?
So that's a very good question. Yes, we had an assessment, and I was rushing my slide. I couldn't go there, but we put it in our paper. So I follow a framework for the assessment, which I refer to as SATE, which when a student they engage with the game, before engaging with the game, I call it as a pre-activity of the game. So I ask them to highlight what's the process they need to take. For example, they're doing a topographic survey. So, and then I introduce them to game. So, and then they created, and then they did the game. And after I had that reflection process, which I said after the game activity, which they follow a series of the question, kind of it was a prompt question, but they're giving them that reflection process to think whether they retain the information or not. And that was a point for me to assess them. It was a kind of subjective based assessment. It was not a summative based assessment. However, it was really good way of seeing how a student they retain information and then kind of compare their understanding after the game and before the game. And because that was one of the prompt questions to ask them. And I have a word cloud in my paper too, which I show them, I showed this, like how a student, they highlighted some of the key instrument or some key practice need to be taken into account when they're doing surveying, which that was a point which I gave them the mark. So that was considered as part of their assessment as well.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Carlo.
Yes, I have just one small comment. I think that your work is very nice one, but I will avoid to use the term gamification, because actually it's a very nice simulation of reality. Okay, so gamification implies the introduction of some gaming element into a process. Okay, it's not just a simulation. So you should have a competition, you should have area, you should have mimicry or whatever you like. Okay, so and also the experience should be modified accordingly. So it's a very, very nice work, very nice simulation, virtual simulation of the reality. But I think that gamification is something different. I don't know if you agree.
Thank you. Like, I totally agree with your point. After studying the literature, why we are using gamification, as there are different ways to design the game. So one of the approach is a content-based game design, which is we have that game mechanic element there, and as well, like we are giving instruction to the gamer to learn something through the by doing the game. So that's why we refer it as a gamification. And I know there is a controversial belief on that, but your point is taken. I have some hesitation to say this is a gamification or simulation, but it's kind of, it's a fluid between two approach. So that's why when it comes to for a student, like they call it game rather than simulation, because for them it was like, oh, they're having fun and they're not going to be penalized each time to run this simulation if you want to refer it. And so that's why I kind of, I always design a student center everything. So I refer that as like that's an instructional game rather than just a simple simulation. If you agree with me, please.
Yeah, Daniel.
Do we have time for another question? Are we?
A very quick one because we want the authors.
You just talked about how you designed this simulation or game. I would love to hear more about your own process. How I know you mentioned you designed this in Unity, but how did you and also after you did it with the students, how would you maybe redesign it differently? What did you learn looking at your own design process of this system?
So the first design of this game happened in 10 days. So I just need to tell you, like myself and Usman, we were like for 10 days, day and night, we were working on that. What we realized in the first approach was like our scene environment is fictitious, and so that's why they cannot resonate with that. So that's why we started to import our Your Campus digital twin to our game. Unfortunately, we cannot release it public because of the university doesn't want to do it, but we have it in our like a private network. That was something we really see the necessity. You see in the paper we put our York University campus virtual model. So that's a part the students, they really liked it and they really enjoy because they could see the physical and they could resonate this information when what they were seeing in the game. But when it's like a fictionist, they were like, okay, they are in the like simulation environment. But when they were, that was like an actual building which they were surveying, and they kind of they would say, oh, I surveyed this building, and then they were mentioning so how difficult that corner of the building being built. So like they were even commenting on something else which was not the aim of the game itself.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.